At the engagement party, my fiancé publicly confessed his feelings for his childhood friend. He told me not to be making a scene, convinced I was utterly dependent on him. I took off my ring and turned to make a phone call. "Will you marry me? Are you serious?" A man's cold voice came through on the other end of the line, its volume unconsciously rising. Before I could respond, I hung up. Not far away, Marcus's relatives and friends were still whispering and smirking, openly mocking me. "I'm telling you, in less than 3 days, tomorrow she'll definitely eagerly come crawling back to Marcus. She's a complete simp, she can't survive without Marcus." "Oh, you're so sure? I bet she won't last tonight. Whoever wins gets to spend the night with her, care to bet?" Marcus glanced over at me with a mocking expression. "Fine. You said it. I've wanted to try that for a long time." The group erupted in laughter. I clenched my fists tightly, quickly turned my head away, and kept walking forward. It wasn't until I got into a taxi that the shame and humiliation inside me fully erupted, and tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. For the past 2 years, I don't know what happened to Marcus, but he suddenly became infatuated with his childhood friend. But that childhood friend was reckless and free-spirited, like one of the guys. Marcus had pursued her for a long time, showering her with 2 luxurious penthouse apartments and sports cars, but she still refused, insisting they could only just be good friends. On the weekend, she flew on Marcus's private jet to the Maldives to see the ocean and try skydiving. While jumping, she filmed a video, screaming at the top of her lungs, "You're getting engaged to someone else, why are you still chasing me? If I can't be your wife, being your buddy is fine." This completely ignited Marcus's competitive spirit. To please her, Marcus always made me go along with his schemes, just to amuse his childhood friend. 2 years ago, he was uncharacteristically romantic and meticulously staged a proposal. But no one told me that his childhood friend, Alex, had returned to the States that day. Crying, I accepted his diamond ring and flowers, and agreed to his proposal in front of everyone. He even hired a professional videographer to film us. I was eagerly looking forward to seeing how the video turned out, but that night, he deleted it. When he went to shower, his phone screen was still on. I saw that he had sent the video to a contact named Alex. 6 months later, he lied and told me he was going on a trip. He ghosted me as soon as he arrived at his destination by plane, and even sent me a video of him getting into a car accident. I was terrified with worry, crying and asking strangers where the video was taken, wanting to go find him. Instead, he filmed my distressed appearance, uploaded it as a social media post. With a caption, "Being loved by a simp means having no freedom at all, but if I actually left, she'd probably commit suicide." Now, he publicly declared that Alex was the one he truly wanted to marry. At that moment, the phone started ringing off the hook. "What you just said, you weren't joking, were you? You'd marry me? Do you know what this means? You really need to think this through, Grace." I sniffled, trying hard to manage a weak smile. "I've made up my mind." The next morning, Marcus moved my luggage to another large house. While moving my belongings, he was humming a tune, like something good had happened. He said my birthday was next month, and he'd give me a big surprise then. This year marked our 7th year of dating. I pursued him initially, and though he was dismissive of me at first, somehow, in the 3rd month, he suddenly accepted confessed my feelings, and we naturally became a couple. "Didn't you really want to see a Justin concert?" I asked a friend to help me get 2 tickets. "I still remember your walk-in closet is full of his early albums and merchandise. Don't tell me you don't like them." He had me sit in the living room of the new house, while he pulled my suitcases into the master bedroom and started unpacking for me. "Your eyes are swollen. Didn't you sleep well last night?" He sighed, his warm hand stroked my head. "I just needed you to help me fool her. I've played these little games so many times, but never with someone I know. The more she refuses, the more I want to see how long she can hold out." He sat down next to me, laughing, and accidentally brushed against his briefcase. I saw a strip of emergency contraception pills sticking out of his bag, exactly 5 were missing. Marcus casually tucked the pills back, caring nothing for how I felt. He took out his phone and snapped a flurry of photos of my disheveled appearance and the luggage on the floor. Then, right in front of me, he opened WhatsApp and started flirting with someone. Soon after, I saw Alex's social media post. She specifically added me on WhatsApp and posted some strange things every day. This time, it was a chat screenshot of Marcus sending her my disheveled photos. "The engagement party was cancelled for you, and we've broken up. Today, you have to move in with me. If I don't give you a night you'll never forget, then I'm not Marcus." Without a second thought, I blocked her. Soon, Mom sent me photos of the house my blind date bought me in Russia. My good girl, he specifically put the house in your name as the owner. How thoughtful. The 15th of next month is an auspicious date to tie the knot. Remember to fly to Russia, he'll pick you up then. 3. Because of what happened at the engagement party, I was plagued by nightmares. After moving to a hotel near the airport, I slept fitfully, often waking up in tears. Just like now, sitting alone by the windowsill looking out at the moon, I suddenly felt very lonely. When I first started dating, we actually had a beautiful past. Back then, he was constantly by my side. To be with me every day, He insisted I quit my job and become his personal assistant at his company. Gracie, this is your favorite pho from the street corner. I waited in line for 3 hours to get it. Eat it while it's hot. Gracie, you have period cramps. Just lie in my arms and don't move around. I've made you ginger tea, and this hot water bottle will make you feel much better. Gracie, you're the most special girl I've ever met. I want to be with you for life. I'll definitely marry you and make you my wife. I want the whole world to know that you are Marcus's woman, and you are the only one I love. At that time, my heart pounded. I was completely smitten with this aloof and charming man in front of me. We were inseparable every day. He would take me on every business trip, otherwise, he'd throw a fit. It was because I was by his side that when the large truck was about to hit him, I pushed him out of the way, without a thought for myself, and the truck ran right over my lower leg. I was in agonizing pain, blood gushed from my leg. Marcus held me, cried hysterically, and screamed for help like a child. I lost the use of one leg. Afterwards, I endured excruciating pain during a long period of rehabilitation. That period was the lowest point in my life. If wasn't there, I would become anxious and prone to overthinking. But he was always utterly gentle with me and constantly tried to cheer me up. Every step of rehab was excruciatingly painful, but his hand steadily held me, his eyes full of encouragement. With him by my side, the pain became more bearable. He wouldn't let anyone call me cripple, or look at me with pity. Later, my leg healed, but his parents didn't approve of us being together. He knelt on their doorstep, stubbornly refusing to get up. If you don't let Grace and me marry, I will never marry, and your family line would end. He knelt for a full week, softening their resolve. They reluctantly agreed to our engagement. I also dreamed of being his wife someday. But it's been 7 years. He just talked about it but never genuinely intended to tie the knot. Even though he had solemnly promised me back then. Gracie, you are the most important woman in my life. I will always love you, and only you, forever. My eyes felt gritty, tears streamed down my face uncontrollably, and my heart ached intensely. Opening WhatsApp, Alex had posted a new social media post. She was lying on my pink sheets, proudly taking a selfie with Marcus. On the nightstand behind them, there was a condom wrapper, still filled with milky white liquid. My stomach lurched, and I couldn't hold it in. I grabbed a bag and vomited. Eventually, I threw up bile, and my mouth was filled with a bitter, sour taste. I gulped down a breath, the air searing my throat like a knife. I left the hotel, feeling completely lost, wandering aimlessly through the streets. Suddenly, someone called out to me from behind. Is that Grace? The man's voice was gentle, his words slow and measured and utterly gentle, yet it made my heart seize up. I turned my head, and my vision blurred. Sage? What are you doing here? For Sage was my neighbor, and my childhood friend. From childhood, we were almost inseparable. When we were little, he always loved chasing me, and we played house, he'd be the dad, and I'd be the mom. But exactly 7 years ago, the day Marcus and I started dating, Sage completely vanished from my world. He said he wanted to go to Russia to develop his career and didn't want to be like me, just a kid who only cared about dating all day. During the time I was recovering in the hospital from my leg injury, a figure just like him would flash past the door every day, but when Marcus went to check, he'd only find flowers he had sent me outside the door. He messaged me, saying he asked Noah to bring me the flowers, but Noah had social anxiety and was too shy to come in and talk to me. Until I was discharged from the hospital, for 2 whole months, I never met Noah, yet I received my favorite lilies every single day. I couldn't help but complain that he wasn't being a good friend. Even with me in this state, how could he bear not to visit me? He said he was too busy with work and couldn't get away. But I laughed and said he must have been captivated by some beautiful Russian girl and had forgotten about his good friend. Just as I would send him messages from time to time, his replies grew less and less frequent, until he eventually cut off contact completely. As luck would have it, Mom and Dad were pushing hard for me to get married, but Marcus kept refusing to meet my parents. Mom thought I was lying about having a boyfriend by using stock photos and threatened to harm herself if I didn't go on a blind date. In the coffee shop, I saw the blind date Mom introduced me to, and my heart involuntarily trembled. It was Sage. I hadn't seen him in a long time. He had become more mature and steady, smiling at me with remarkable gentleness. His clean-cut and handsome features drew the gaze of passers-by. We took the opportunity to catch up, talking happily for hours, just like in the past. He told me he was also forced into the blind date and asked me not to mind. He also shared many interesting stories he encountered in Russia, and I, in turn, told him about my experiences over the past few years. We talked happily for hours. So much so that when it was time to leave, I was a little reluctant to leave. After we parted ways, he still wasn't a man of many words, but he always sent me a birthday gift every year. A few days ago, when I was standing on stage being humiliated by Marcus, who wanted to cancel our engagement, he coincidentally messaged me, asking, "I heard you got engaged. Your engagement gift and birthday present will arrive next month. You can tell me anything you want." I stood there, so dazed I felt like I might faint. A cold sweat broke out all over me, and I replied with trembling fingers, "No engagement. Sage, I'm doomed to never marry. For someone like me, honestly, who would ever love me for life? 7 years together, only to end in such a dismal end. Perhaps had intended to marry me at first, but that no longer mattered." He was silent for a few seconds. Just when I thought he would ghost me again, he sent a message that caught me completely off guard. "I will love you forever. I always have, and I always will. Let's get married, okay?" Everyone on the lawn at the engagement party was on the ground, clutching their stomachs and roaring with laughter. "Marcus, aren't you going to destroy her with how you treat that simp? Everyone knows how many humiliating things she's done these past few years just to please you. It's impossible she'll ever cancel the engagement and break up with you. Yeah, you're clearly trying to break her heart. But honestly, watching a pretty girl cry is a unique kind of entertainment. You all like to watch?" Marcus blew a smoke ring, nonchalantly. "No way. Grace can only be made to cry by me. If you want to see her cry, you'll have to wait in line. Only when I get bored of it can you all take your turn." I stared at his and the men's lewd faces beside him, my heart clenched in agony. "About what you said about wanting to marry me, I've thought about it. I'll marry you." Sage sent me a photo of a luxurious wedding dress adorned with diamonds, saying he had personally designed it for me. He also sent a box of my favorite treats, which turned out to be all my favorite local prepared foods and snacks. "While you're busy with moving out of the country, remember to treat yourself. Don't work so hard. When I have time, I'll come and bring you back." I opened the box. There were my favorite candied apples and roasted chestnuts, from 2 places where the wait was always at least 2 hours. Soon, I had eaten it all. I moved into a hotel near the airport. My luggage wasn't much, 3 suitcases were enough to pack everything. I sold all the large furniture and appliances and jewelry. As for the gifts Marcus had given me, and the souvenirs and trinkets we bought on our travels, I packed them all up and threw them into the dumpster. It wasn't until half a month later that Marcus suddenly remembered me, calling me for the first time in ages. "Why have you been so quiet lately? Are you throwing a fit, are you?" He went back to her hometown for Alex's grandmother's birthday, and while there, met her relatives, friends, and parents. He told me it was a rare moment for Alex to be happy, so he couldn't very well refuse. "Be a good girl, I'll be back soon." He sounded in good spirits. "Yesterday, I went shopping with Alex. She wore a lovely hat, and I thought it would suit you too. I bought one for you. I'll give it to you when I get back." I thought he was out of his mind, so I hung up the phone, blocked and deleted him in one swift move. For the remaining time, Sage told me not to rush over, suggesting I could first fulfill my dreams in this city and visit some places I liked. Unable to sleep soundly at night, I wandered outside and unexpectedly ran into Sage, whom I hadn't seen in a long time. He couldn't stand to see me cry. He tenderly held the back of my head, pulling me into his arms. The day before we were to leave the country, Marcus called me again, using someone else's phone. "Gracie, why aren't you staying home like a good girl? You know I don't like you running around. I'll have to punish you." I was speechless, but Marcus couldn't help but let out a chuckle. "Gracie, I really love that jealous look on your face. You cooperated perfectly with me this time. I should really praise you. Your acting is getting really good." "Alright." He sounded relaxed. "Next, I'll need a video of you pretending to leave me for good, going abroad. How about I take you to the airport tomorrow?" My heart felt like it was pierced by 1,000 needles. The pain almost took my breath away. As long as you're a good girl and listen when I get bored, I'll definitely come back. I know. My face was expressionless. Awesome. Mr. Marcus, you're the man, right? I told you she'd do anything, but you didn't believe me. On the other end of the phone, several men couldn't stop laughing. The next day, Marcus was waiting at the airport bright and early. As went to check in the luggage, he was beaming at me. My gaze, however, was fixed on his neck, which was covered in bruise marks. You're so good. Now that I got my video, I'll give you a reward. I guarantee you'll like it. 7. He hurriedly jogged away, and I suddenly found his driver's license in my bag. I hesitated, wondering whether to call him back for it. Even though we weren't a couple anymore, at least we could be friends someday. He wasn't perfect, but during our years together, there were times he was good to me. Perhaps I should return his driver's license and properly say goodbye. Suddenly, a large truck screeched to a halt outside. I, who was on the phone, was startled, immediately transported me back to the car accident from years ago. The suffocating dread of death enveloped me, and I trembled all over with fear. Before, when my lower leg was aching and I cried, Marcus would comfort me until I could smile through my tears. Those rehabilitation days were so bitter that I developed deep psychological trauma. Perhaps if he would just come back, repent and apologize to me, I truly would irresistibly throw myself into his arms and cry and curse him for all the despicable things he'd done. The phone was answered, and again, men's mocking voices filled the air. Forget it. Don't make me sick. Who wouldn't get tired of the same face after 7 years? I've wanted to break up with her for ages, but she just wouldn't let go. You all wondered why I ever stuck with a cripple? Isn't sleeping with a cripple more exciting? I've tried every kind of woman. This kind really piqued my curiosity. Back then, she was in agony during rehab every day, and at night. I'd wonder if her leg would twitch when we did it. You wouldn't believe how tempting that image was. I even have a video, I'll send it for you to enjoy. Outside, there was a cacophony of voices, gathered around the accident scene. My heart felt like it had been stabbed, a blood-filled blister blooming, like an eye brimming with tears. I hung up the phone, my phone slipped from my grasp, clattering to the ground. The throbbing ache in my heart overshadowed any physical discomfort. Just when my world was collapsing, Sage walked towards me, smiling and carrying my favorite bubble tea. Grace, why are you so pale? His handsome brow was slightly furrowed, his gaze fixed on my trembling body. Did you meet someone? Or are you sick and feeling unwell? My throat choked up, I shook my head, my lips pressed together, and tears streamed down my face. All right, don't cry anymore. He gently held me, gently patted my back, and he carried a comforting citrus scent. I'm here now, everything's all right. 8. The news of the Hayes CEO and his fiancée breaking up spread like wildfire across the city. Relatives and friends all congratulated Marcus on finally getting rid of that sticky leech. They invited him out to bars every night to drink and pick up women, having the time of their lives. Drinking needed some entertainment, so someone suggested, Mr. Marcus, the girls here are too plain. Why don't you call your little simp over here to do a pole dance for us to liven things up? The man next to Marcus was about to call me when he saw gossip news pushed by a popular blog. I'm going crazy. How did he come back? The others, tipsy, leaned in to see what was happening. Isn't this Sage, the sole heir to the city's wealthiest family? Why is he back? I saw the news too. It said he's here to find his fiancée. The girl next to her said indignantly, I don't believe it. Everyone says he doesn't like women, has never dated or married, let alone had children. How could he suddenly have a fiancé out of nowhere? It must be a rumor. Why would I lie? Look at the photos yourself. Everyone took out their phones to look at the blog. But the more they looked, the worse their faces became. He's really good to his fiancée, chartering an entire plane just to make her happy. You can tell it's true love. A handsome and talented man with a beautiful woman, a perfect match. But this woman looks a lot like someone. Mr. Marcus. Mr. Marcus, stop drinking. The man snatched Marcus's wine glass and pushed his phone in front of him. Don't you think Sage's fiancée looks a lot like your shameless simp? Marcus had never been interested in gossip news. He scoffed, her? A worn-out piece of trash I'm sick of. Who'd want her leftovers? He reluctantly glanced at the screen. Without me, where would she get the money for first class? You're giving her too much credit. His face instantly went ashen, his eyes wide with disbelief. That bright, clear morning, at the airport. A tall, well-built man stood in the corner, clean-cut and handsome, his eyes full of tenderness. He bent slightly, gently pulled the girl with red, swollen eyes from crying into his embrace, and lightly patted her back, as if comforting her, or offering her the firmest support. After so many years together, he'd recognize Grace even if her face were covered. But how could this be? Marcus was so furious he flipped over the table, and wine glasses and bottles shattered across the floor. He had never heard Gracie mention Sage. He was an internationally acclaimed young talent. And how could she possibly leave him? Without him, she'd rather die. He suddenly realized he hadn't truly spoken to her in a long time, and a pang of longing for her struck him. Marcus frowned, picked up an unbroken whiskey bottle from the ground, and took another swig. He called Grace, only to find she had blocked him. No, that couldn't be right. Someone else must have set her phone to do that. He raised an eyebrow, gesturing for his friends to call her for him. Before, no matter how late it was, if his friends said they were drunk, Grace would come running to pick him up and take him home, make him honey tea, and coax him to sleep. The men understood immediately. But after a round of attempts by his friends, no one could get through to her. Everyone associated with him had been blocked, without exception. When Eleanor and Dad moved to Russia to settle down, I found hundreds of excuses to stay in the States. The most fundamental reason was still Marcus. I loved him deeply, from dependency to slowly regarding him as family. But now, nothing about him mattered to me anymore. On the plane, Sage was very worried about me. His gaze was fixed on my face, and he kept holding my hand tightly. He was even more handsome than he was as a child. Dressed in a sharp suit, he looked like a highly successful businessman. Everyone on the plane respected him. People didn't dare to meet his gaze when speaking to him, and they were soft-spoken. As if offending him meant facing severe consequences. I had also noticed recently that he always wore a mask and sunglasses when going out. Occasionally, when recognized, people would even excitedly rush over for autographs and photos. That snot-nosed little childhood friend who used to follow me around, was he really that impressive now? And could I possibly be worthy of such an exceptional man? It had been a very long time since we last met, 5 years ago. During that time, we had lived separate lives and had less interaction. Actually, after graduation, I once said I wanted to start a business in Russia, but didn't like women who were too good at making money. He thought women should just be obedient. After a 7-year relationship hiatus, I was very nervous. Perhaps I was no longer suited to start over from scratch. With his other hand, Sage produced a paper bag and handed it to me, opening it. For you. A fragrant potato and cheese tart, with a Melody de IGN branded into the center. I remembered the year I graduated middle school, when we went to summer camp. I ate the potato and cheese tart Sage made, and praised it endlessly. This tart is delicious, but it would be even more perfect if it had my favorite design on it. Next time, remember to teach me how to make it. This tart is truly the best thing I've ever eaten in the world. Once I learn, I'll make it for you too. I'll even add some creamy milk filling inside. I guarantee you'll want more. He smiled then, watching me talk, his face filled with doting contentment. I felt he was too good to me, like an older brother who would always take care of me. Being with him, my heart always felt warm. But now, because we hadn't seen each other in so long, that uncertainty made me feel nervous and afraid. Aren't you going to eat it? It has a creamy milk filling inside. It seemed he remembered every single thing I ever said. He picked up the teacup beside him, the steamy tea obscuring the flicker in his eyes, but his slightly parted lips were tinted with gentle, doting affection. Then he put on gloves, took out a tart, and brought it to my mouth. I took a bite. The aroma was rich. It was like being transported back to that midsummer night. Sage and I secretly lay on the lawn, enjoying the cool air, gazing at the star-filled sky, and making wishes that belonged to our 18-year-old selves. Mom and Dad greeted me at the airport, and the moment they saw me, they cried hysterically. They took me to the luxurious penthouse apartment Sage had bought for me. He wasn't as busy with work as he used to claim. He barely had to go to the office and spent almost every day with me and my family. We spent a relaxed and pleasant 2 weeks, and then Sage handed me a business proposal. It's a newly opened company. Would you mind running it for me? The profits are yours, and any losses are mine. I thought he was joking and stared at him in surprise. I once had a huge fight with Marcus because I wanted to start a business. A girl putting herself out there, what kind of respect is that? If you do business, you'll have to socialize, right? And socializing means encountering lecherous men. What if someone takes advantage of you? What about my feelings? But sat down and looked at me seriously. You're a brilliant graduate with a degree in business administration. We're classmates. I know exactly how capable you are. I clutched the corner of my clothes. But I've been out of touch with society for too many years. I don't have the confidence to do it. Sage smiled knowingly, as I said, any losses are mine. I have plenty of money, so try it as much as you want. It's nothing. And so, I actually became the female CEO of his new company. I became incredibly busy, constantly on the go. I gathered department subordinates to understand the business, adjusted product strategies based on local market preferences, communicated with suppliers and the domestic headquarters, and launched a new chapter with great intensity. It was busy, yet fulfilling. It felt like, after all these years, I was finally living for myself. I couldn't wait to tell my best friend back in the States that I had finally achieved my life's dreams. But when I switched to my domestic SIM card, it showed 600 unread messages. Grace, why aren't you answering your phone? Marcus is frantic because he can't find you, don't you know? 11 Didn't he have a new girlfriend? Why was he still thinking about me? I remembered that when I moved my luggage, I hadn't touched any of Marcus's belongings in his house. Everything I threw away was either something he had given me or little trinkets filled with our memories. Since I owed him nothing, my leaving had nothing to do with him. I scrolled through the messages, each telling me to go back to Marcus, and I clicked to block him. Soon, an unknown number called me. I accidentally swiped and answered. Grace, get your ass over here right now. Marcus roared at the top of his lungs. Didn't I tell you to stay home? So you've learned to be disobedient, have you? And you dared to turn off your phone. You haven't contacted me in so long, you're pretty bold now, aren't you? I know you're jealous about Alex and are deliberately playing hard to get, right? I listened indifferently to the agitated voice on the other end of the line. I'm talking to you. Why aren't you answering me? Are you deaf? And what about the handmade doll we made together in Iceland last year at my house? Who gave you permission to take it without asking? Are you not going to the concert for your birthday anymore? You'd better explain yourself clearly. Marcus, stop making a scene. I spoke slowly, my tone calm and with a hint of nonchalance. We cancelled the engagement and broke up a long time ago. Everyone knows that, don't you? He tried to say more, but I had already blocked this number of his too. More text messages started coming in one after another. Gracie, it's just a small matter, alright? Don't be so petty. I just needed you to cooperate with me. It wasn't real. Unblock me quickly, or I'll really get angry. Are you really only going to be satisfied if I break up with you? I ignored him, pulled out the SIM card, and threw it into the cabinet. 12 A friend once told me that to truly get over someone, you need to fall in love with someone new to forget. I didn't understand before. If you loved a man so deeply, how could you bear to let him go and love someone else? Sage's and my feelings for each other grew. From initial awkwardness, we gradually returned to the familiar intimacy we once shared. Perhaps because we grew up together, we got along well and had a natural understanding in everything we did. Mom and Dad, seeing our dynamic, were beaming from ear to ear and immediately urged us to tie the knot. After marriage, we naturally moved in together. Each having our own room, we enjoyed a degree of freedom. After moving in together, Sage added a desk and chair to my office, working alongside me every day and teaching me the ropes of business. After work, he'd walk me home. This was the benefit of having the company located near home. In the evening, he'd accompany me to the market to buy groceries, carefully selecting the freshest vegetables for me. He'd carry the chicken in his left hand and the fish in his right, watching me with a silly, happy grin. The setting sun shone on his handsome face, suddenly evoking a feeling of peaceful serenity. While I was in the study rushing to finish a business proposal, when I came out, the table was already filled with delicious dishes, looking and smelling absolutely wonderful. Especially the braised pork trotters, which were superb, red and glossy, rich with sauce, tender and enticing. They were my absolute favorite. When did you learn to cook so many delicious things? I picked up a piece of pork trotter with my chopsticks and put it in my mouth. The rich, savory flavor filled my taste buds. You didn't know how to cook, did you? Now you're a chef? Who taught you? An ex-girlfriend? That's amazing. This steamed sea bass is delicious too. I paid to learn myself. I wanted to make it for the woman I love. Sage looked at me dotingly. My hand paused. The woman I love? Who was that? I awkwardly put my chopsticks down on the table. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you planned to invite someone else for dinner. I once told Marcus that I really wanted him to cook a meal for me. He scoffed, telling me that a man's job was to go out and make money, and that grocery shopping and cooking were for women. As a man, it would be humiliating for him. Sage walked over and put his arms around my waist. I made it for you. After hearing it clearly, my face instantly flushed crimson. It seemed marriage wasn't so bad after all. I'll go make pineapple ribs, your old favorite. After he finished cooking, he untied my apron and pulled out a hair for me to sit down. I suddenly remembered the year I first attended boarding school. Mom visited me and brought a few lunchboxes. After she left, I ate and cried simultaneously, telling Sage how homesick I was and how wonderful it would be if I could always taste my mom's cooking, no matter where I was in the future. With him by my side back then, life seemed so happy. I grew up in an instant. I looked up and found him watching me too. We both inexplicably blushed, and the atmosphere became undeniably intimate. 13 Our relationship progressed faster than I expected. In just 1 year, we went from holding hands to moving into the same room. Mom was beaming from ear to ear. While William called Sage to go playing golf, she dragged me out shopping, talking constantly about grandchildren. Do you know why I specifically chose that guy for you? I saw how devoted he was. Not like that Marcus of yours, he refused to meet mom and dad. Do you really think we don't know anything? He's too timing. If you married someone like that, you'd ruin your life. After you two graduated, Sage often came to our house asking me to teach him how to cook. Even if he didn't say it, I knew he was doing it for you. When you weren't around, he looked after dad and me like a son. We've regarded him as family for a long time. Mom's words had barely finished when she looked behind me in surprise. Gracie, do you know that man? Why is he staring at you? I turned around and saw it was Marcus. Why was he here? It had been a long time since I'd seen him, and he no longer had the youthful swagger he once possessed. Perhaps, as my best friend said, his family's fortunes had declined, and he had no choice but to resort to washing dishes to make a living. I don't know him. I took Mom's hand, intending to leave, but, with red eyes, blocked my path. Grace, explain yourself. We've been together for 7 years. Are you just going to dump me with a simple "I don't know him"? I know you're still angry about the engagement party. Can't I just apologize? Why are you dwelling on this? You're being so stubborn. Before I could say anything, Mom stepped forward and slapped Marcus across the face. Do you have no self-awareness at all regarding what you've done? My daughter wasted 7 years of her youth on you, finally looked forward to an engagement, and then you cancelled it for another woman. Do you think she left you because of that? Her heart had died to you long ago. You know exactly what you did to her. Marcus's pale lips trembled as he gripped my arm. Gracie, tell me it's not true. You loved me so much. How could you possibly bear it without me? How could you survive? I scoffed and pulled my hand away. Marcus, don't flatter yourself, okay? In this world, no one truly can't survive without someone else. Without you, the sun would still rise, and I would still be able to breathe normally. The only difference is that I don't love you anymore. Please don't ever appear before me again. My husband might mind. Marcus laughed, clutching his stomach and falling to the ground, tears streaming from his eyes. Grace, your little games haven't changed. To force me to marry you, you're even lying that you're already married. You're so childish. Alright, fine. Since you're truly sincere enough to lie for me, I'll marry you, okay? Now, let's go back to the States and tie the knot. He came over and took my hand. The next second, Sage, with a cold expression, punched him, sending him sprawling to the ground. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth. He watched in surprise as I was cradled in Sage's arms, being gently soothed. Honey, are you all right? Are you hurt anywhere? Marcus looked utterly hurt, his terrified gaze darted between us. Then, as if realizing something, he opened his phone and searched online. A year ago, we had a lavish and grand wedding in Russia. Many relatives, friends, and prominent entrepreneurs attended to celebrate, which used quite a stir. The internet was flooded with photos of Sage's and my wedding. During that time, the Hayes estate was on the brink of bankruptcy, preoccupied with their own troubles, and Marcus didn't like to follow the news, so he naturally knew nothing of it. Now, Marcus knelt on the ground, drained of all strength, his eyes hollow and desolate. He looked utterly broken and pathetic. Tears streamed down his face as he grabbed my pant leg. I don't believe it, Gracie. I don't believe you could truly forget our past. Didn't we promise to be together forever? Why did you lie? I'm sorry, I truly know I was wrong. Please come back, okay? Divorce immediately. Even if you're married, it doesn't matter, I'll still marry you, as long as you're willing to be with me. Hearing this, Sage tightened his grip on my hand, looking at me cautiously. I curled my lips and kicked Marcus to the ground. Get out. You don't deserve me. From now on, I will only love Sage. The man's warm breath fanned my face, and Sage's gentle kiss landed on my lips. Marcus, on the side, Marcus wailed loudly, frantically slapped himself in the face. Later, my best friend told me he got into a serious car accident. Due to drunk driving, he suffered severe damage to his cervical spine, resulting in quadriplegia. The rest of his life would be confined to a bed. But that no longer concerned me. Unresolved feelings eventually find peace, and all things work out as they should. The roses are in bloom, and it's time for me to go. Take care of yourself. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.